A friend of mine recently broke up with his partner of 7 years, and he was devastated because she left. Only a few months later, he's with someone new. They seem to be madly in love or into each other. I don't believe it's possible that he could have healed his marriage heartbreak that fast, but who am I to judge? What do you think? Yeah, I think that I appreciate that you don't want to, be judging someone for where they're at in their life, but oftentimes in heartbreak, we try to get into another relationship so that we don't have to experience the depths of the heartbreak that are up for us in that encounter. And sometimes those new relationships can be very healing because they can help us to not wallow in the heartbreak. And so I think you're right for not judging. And I think you're probably also right that there's a little bit more heartbreak work to do there. I think men in particular, oftentimes, and again, I'm using generalizations, but oftentimes men cope with heartbreak quite differently. They have a tendency sometimes to shove it down. And they also have to go in their caves and work through it in their own time. So bringing someone else into their life may be exactly what they need, and it might also be that they're avoiding, but they're going to come to it in their own time. Because we know that if we shove that heartbreak down, it is going to come back and rear its ugly head again at some point in time. So that may be what's happening with them. But I think that in general, we want to just support our friends and recognize that whatever they need to do to help heal their heart is what they're going to do. It's their soul's journey. And we can just be there for them as a sounding board to really listen and hear, and also maybe nudge them here and there if you're really a close friend to them, and just find out like, hey, where are you at with healing the wounds, and what lessons did you feel like you were able to really learn about yourself from your previous relationship now that you're out and you're not in the depths of the heartbreak. And sometimes those prods just help people go, oh, maybe I didn't really go deep in that one. Maybe there is a little bit more something to learn, and they'll do it in their own time. So yeah, I think that sometimes it's hard for us, especially if their spouse or their partner is a good friend of ours, and we see that dynamic. We want to jump in with ideas, and I think letting everyone process it on their own is the best way to go about it, and just being that great listening ear that you can be. I would love for you to go on to bethbell.me and take the state of the heart assessment. If you haven't already, you'll find out like, what state is your heart in? Are you blocked? Are you broken? Are you healing, or are you whole? And even when we're in our whole hearts, we never know what's going to happen in life, and things can break our hearts. And that's where a spiritual toolbox really comes in and is incredibly helpful and handy. And it requires us to do that deep inner work, the work that sometimes gets tough to do when our lives are busy and crazy, but guaranteed, if we don't do the pause, life is going to pause for us and push us into those moments where we have to do that work. On bethbell.me, you'll also see the Awakening and Healing Handbook. There's lots of modalities, lots of tips, tools, techniques that can also help you on your spiritual journey and building that spiritual toolbox. If you have any interest in spiritual medicines, there's the psychedelic resource guide that's also very helpful. Even if you have someone else in your family that might be interested and you're like, why are they even considering this? I think that would be a very helpful tool for you. And there's the herpes handbook. And I know everybody's like, but it's also about the viruses of the mind and really moving through some of these heartbreaking situations that happen to us in life. And herpes does not have to be that. It's definitely something that is perceived to be this tragedy and trauma, and I honor that, but it's something that we can all work through because they are viruses of the mind. So I so appreciate you here. If you're listening live, thank you for being with me. If you're listening on replay and you have a question, please don't hesitate to submit either in the comments, or you can go to bethbell.me/question. And I look forward to seeing you again next week at 11 a.m. on Sundays. Until then, wishing you much bliss and love. Namaste.